there.
And of course, taking the cross to all the 48 lower states, that was, easy. God provided a brand new truck that was given to us for the specific purpose of taking this cross all the way across and throughout America, all 48 lower states. But of course, I still had to go to Hawaii and I had to go to Alaska, and I couldn't take this 10-foot cross with me to Hawaii or to Alaska. So when I flew to Hawaii, I took the wheel with me. I had an extra wheel. I took the wheelbase with me, and the purpose, intent was to build a cross in Hawaii, Honolulu. I hooked up with a group called YWAM, Youth with a Mission, and they picked me up from the airport. And then the leader of evangelism, he took me to Home Depot, and we bought the wood. And I actually said, his name is Billy. I said, Billy, you want to make this cross? He said, yeah, I want to make the cross. And so I just showed him how to make the cross, and Billy began constructing this 10-foot by 5-foot, 60-pound cross with a wheel, and he did an excellent job. So after he constructed it, we prayed, had a group of YWAM kids and associates and all the workers get together, and we all prayed, asking God to reach Honolulu with the message of the cross. The next day, he took in his group of YWAMers to Honolulu, right there at Waikiki Beach, and we began to share the gospel. And they put the cross on their shoulders and they took off. And they started walking and lifting it up and praying and stopping, and they told me this later, wow, it's very easy because people actually come up to you. You don't have to go after them. They actually come up to you and they wonder what's going on with the cross, or they have prayer needs because they know what the cross is about. And they were so impressed at how easy it was to see people come up and ask for prayer, or to say, wow, this is great, tell me about it. And so these YWAMers, they began to share the message of the cross as far as Waikiki Beach by taking the 10-foot cross and walking up and down the beach. And I was just enjoying that, just as an older evangelist, just seeing these young people on fire for Jesus Christ at the beautiful beach, Waikiki Beach, Honolulu, Hawaii.
And what happened to that cross?
And of course, after I stayed there for a full week, and after I left the cross with the YWAM, and they, of course, continued to take it out, as far as I know, to this day.
And interesting experience with, you didn't know anyone going to Juneau, Alaska, but going to the Home Depot there and encountering a heavenly being, an angel.
And then, of course, Juneau, Alaska. Had to fly to Juneau, and same situation, couldn't bring the cross. So I took the wheelbase and brought it into the airline with me to the airplane. Landed in Juneau, California, downtown. And then I was wondering, well, how and what am I going to do about this cross? Well, I decided that I'd take a cab 7 miles the next day to Home Depot and go into their commercial department and see if I could build a cross. I went up to the woman who was in charge of the commercial building or commercial area of Home Depot. I said, I'm Tom Alexander from Bakersfield, California, a crosswalker. Gave her a tract about what I did. I said, I'm here to pray for Juneau, Alaska, in fact, all of Alaska, but I need to make my cross. Can I build this cross in your store? She looked at me, not funny, she looked at me, not curious, she just looked at my car, looked at me, and she said, sure. So she let me, in the commercial building, begin to make and construct this cross. And what's amazing, they allowed 2 employees that wanted to help to actually help construct this cross. And I have pictures of that, and there was a man and a woman. And they took great pride in honing out. We had to use hand tools to hone out this cross. They took great pride in creating this cross. And after they built that cross, we walked to the counter, I paid for the wood, and then I said, well, okay, God, it's 7 miles to my motel room. I can walk it, but I've been working on this thing all day, I'm tired. He said, well, just go on outside. So I said bye to everybody, and the moment I went outside, the door opened, lo and behold, a cab pulled up. And it was a van cab, big enough to hold this cross. So I said, wow, look at that. She stopped, and a guy was inside that and a guy was inside that van. And I looked at him, and something familiar about him. Earlier in the morning, 7:30, I walked outside my motel room waiting for the cab, and I noticed a young man standing 20 feet away from me, and he looked at me and smiled. I looked at him and smiled, and beautiful day today in Juneau. And he said, yes, it sure is. Have a great day. The usual greetings that we do. And as I was waiting for my cab, he'd look at me, I'd look at him, not another word. Cab came, picked me up, and of course, constructed that cross, went outside, there was that cab. I looked in that passenger side, and lo and behold, it was him. I recognized him. I said, what? The cab driver, her name is Janetta, she got out and she said, we'll put your cross in the back, but I got to get this fare from this young man right here. And so she did, and I looked at him, I said, hey, weren't you downtown by the motel this morning? He said, yeah. I said, what do you mean? Why are you here? And his answer was this: because God loves his children. And I said, okay. I looked at Janetta, she looked at me, and she said this first: you know that's an angel, right? And he was walking away. And we turned to look, and guess what? Nobody there. Wow, that really made a big impression on me and on her too. And sure enough, we got into that cab and we talked about it all the way to the motel room. And she was so impressed by everything that she didn't even charge me for it. But the big thing was that God provided a way, and he did it in a way that I wasn't expecting. But certainly, God is able to do miracles like that. So that is one of the biggest stories I could ever share with people about the goodness and provision of God in a situation where I needed some help.